Hi, welcome to part 2 of our series on securing API integrations inside your n8n automations. Today, we're going to get real about security because if you're using tools like Google Maps, Google Sheets, or Gmail in your workflows and you're connecting them with API keys or OAuth, you might be creating a security gap without knowing it. I'm Clint Marsden, and with my experience as a cybersecurity professional, I'll show you how to close that gap and detect when your API keys have been used. Let's start with API keys. So imagine you had a single hotel key that opened every room and you accidentally left it in a coffee shop. That's what happens when you commit an API key to a public GitHub repo. So once someone has that key, they can make API calls pretending to be your app. They can run up your billing, and they can also scrape sensitive data or data that was not intended to be scraped by someone outside your organization. But it's not all bad. Sometimes this information can get logged, and if you're looking in Google Cloud in the Google Logs Explorer, you'll find this logged as caller IP in the request metadata. So how do these keys usually get out? Well, one example is when the API key is hard-coded in n8n function nodes. For example, you're trying to call the Google Maps API inside an n8n function node, and to get it working, you add a header that has the API key. You've seen everyone sharing their n8n workflows, and you decide, hey, I want to help the community too. So you share your workflow online just as a JSON export from n8n. When you hit that download button from the workflow in n8n, it also included the header with the API key. And to avoid this problem, you'll need to switch your workflows to using OAuth 2. It's more secure and gives you more control over exactly what can be accessed. So if you really want to keep using API keys, treat them like your toothbrush. Choose a good one, don't share it, and change it often. OAuth is built to solve this problem of leaked API keys. And rather than having one key for everything, OAuth works more like a visitor badge. It's got your name on it, it expires, and it only gets you into certain rooms, not the whole building. That badge is the access token. And in Google Cloud, you can control what that badge allows through something called scopes. The scope is where most no-code devs go wrong. And let's say you want to read just a Google Sheet. You might only need this scope. But if you search for Google Sheets in Google Cloud scopes, and you enable everything that comes back, you're now requesting way more than you really should have. And the reason for that is that that gives you access to Google Drive as well, to read, delete, and modify everything. So the options that you have there not only include everything for Google Sheets, but for some reason, it also includes Google Drive. So it's not just Google Sheets that uses scopes. Scopes are used in all the Google Cloud Workspace apps, things like Gmail, Google Drive, Google Calendar. And no matter which API you're using, which OAuth app you are using, the principle stays the same. Use a minimal scope to provide the maximum amount of security. It's important to always be intentional about what permissions your app is asking for. Now, OAuth is safer, but it's not magic, and you still need to be careful, and here's where a lot of people can still slip up. The first one is the redirect URI, or the Uniform Resource Indicator. Always double check that that OAuth redirect points back to your trusted n8n instance. Then, as we spoke about earlier, token storage. So make sure you only store tokens in the n8n credential manager never in the actual function node itself or plain text. And you can get into that credential manager by clicking on the plus icon in the top left-hand corner of the n8n workspace in the cloud. And finally, if you delete a workflow, well, revoke its credentials when it gets retired. Finally, if you delete a workflow, also revoke its credentials once you retire that app. So let's have a quick recap of how we're tracking so far. Here's your security checklist for automations. Use the n8n credential manager. If you do hard code API keys, ensure that you sanitize the JSON output before you share that workflow when you download that file and share it with other people. Set only the minimum scopes that you need with OAuth apps. Set only the minimum scopes you need with OAuth apps. Never expose your keys in n8n nodes. Audit your connected accounts once a month for suspicious activity. And finally, revoke any old or unused credentials when projects are retired. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for watching. If you could help me out and help the channel grow by clicking on like and subscribing as well, that would be great. See you next time.